this weekend, a George Lucas film is opening. It's called Red Tails, and it's about a group of segregated African-American pilots who flew during World War II. Academy Award-winning actor Cuba Gooding Jr. is joining us right here on the News Hub, along with Chris Farley from the Wall Street Journal, to tell us all about it.
Nice to see you.
Pleasure to meet you. Thanks for joining us here. Hi, Chris.
Good to see you.
Thanks for being on. So, a very interesting story that World War II buffs will love to hear. Many people may not know about him, but tell us this film, how it came about. I know there's a great story there.
Oh, absolutely. Red Tails is a story of the Tuskegee Airmen who did bomber escort for the B-17 bombers over the skies of Berlin during World War II. And George Lucas has decided to tell the action-adventure version of the story. And he spent probably 20 some odd years developing it.
Yep.
Wow.
We finished filming it in 2009, and he's been spending the last 2 years doing the special effects. So when you see the movie, you will think you're in a P-51 Mustang in the cockpit getting shot at.
That's awesome. And just so there's no confusion, this is the Academy Award-winning actor, not me. Just so we avoid that.
Yeah, sorry,
it looks like I've seen the trailers. It looks thoroughly exciting. I mean, the action sequences, the flying sequences look tremendous. I mean, this thing really looks like you're going to be right there. And
It really is. I mean, visually, I hadn't seen something like this since Avatar. I mean, it was one of those things where, you know, and I'm not afraid to fly, but, you know, don't really like to go up
fly?
if I don't have. Well, every time I get in the cockpit, the pilots try to show up and get me to throw up, and they succeed every time. I think you go from point A to point B, not point A back to point A.
Chris, this is such an interesting story too. Not just what we'll see on the screen, but the story behind getting it to the screen is actually one that many people probably won't know about and is very interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I'd love to hear Cuba's views on this, that George Lucas put in $93 million of his own money because he believed in the story so much to get it on screen. When you heard about that, I mean, what did you think, George Lucas self-financing the film that you're in?
Yeah, I was, blown away. I was. He's very passionate about telling the story, and if you look at it, he owns the companies. So it's not really 93; it's more like 150 something. Because if you had $93 million and tried to deliver this movie, he'd charge you for it. So. He's, and then the promotion of the movies, he put money behind the promotions to just get us out there, putting the commercials up. And in addition to that, he did a documentary called Double Victory that aired last weekend to show the statistical facts of what the Red Tails accomplished during World War II. So he's really passionate about telling the story, and we're proud to be a part of it.
And how much do we address the racial issues? Obviously, this was a unit of African Americans that not whites. It was unique in its period. How much do we address those issues?
Well, there's no denying that the Red Tail Airmen kicked off the civil rights movements with their stance against a segregated military, and some of that is touched on in the movie. But George says that he made this movie for 10-year-old boys, and a lot of the kids come out of the theater yelling and screaming, wishing they were lightning in the movie.
Yeah.
But there was some stuff addressed. There were some tensions back there. Like I say, that documentary he made was called Double Victory. Victory in the air against the Germans and victory against the military who tried to keep them out of the war efforts. So it's touched upon, but it's entertainment first, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's
Brother man.
It's PG-13, right?
Yes, sir.
I took my 9-year-old. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You took your 9-year-old and his friend, right?
Yeah, you like
so you had two 9-year-olds.
Yeah, two 9-year-olds.
That's 18.
Okay, that works. Write it up.
And we're at Wall Street Journal. We like to do math here. This is great.
Exactly.
So, and Chris, George Lucas putting 93 or more of his own money into it, is that because he couldn't get any other Hollywood studios to jump onto this? And is there a story there that we should kind of be exploring?
In fact, on The Daily Show just the other night, he said the reason he self-financed it is because he couldn't get the major Hollywood studios on board to fund a movie with an all-black cast and an expensive budget. I mean, what did you think when you heard about that?
Well, it just kicks off to the notion of his passion. He is not going to be denied. The Tuskegee Airmen, they had to fight and fight and fight just to be able to give their lives for the war effort. So I think it's very reminiscent, very echoing of the spirit that is these American heroes. And, if you put up $100 million, you'd be like, I got no help. So I get where but that is part of the process. I have another producer friend of mine, a dear friend, Jerry Bruckheimer, he had a movie that was, greenlit, and then the studio reneged on that thing too. So, Hollywood,
business.
it's a tough business, but when you have men like George Lucas who are willing to sacrifice it all, you got to be grateful. I mean, what he's doing for our community is beautiful.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Cuba Gooding Jr., Chris
a lot.
Farley, and of course, we
Appreciate
can't
it.
let you go. The Wall Street Journal. Show me the money. Yeah! Come on,